And you know, us sports moms have something to say.
Yes, we do.
We'll have a chance to interview across the board, from athletes to the parents to the coaches to even the trainers.
And we're not afraid to share our journey. We're not afraid to tell other moms what we went through in order to raise up a student athlete. So I believe that it's inspirational.
We able to tell our story, the good and the bad.
We can give back positive information.
Absolutely.
You know, we can empower them.
Yes, I think it's time for the mothers to be a voice.
Yeah,
That's it.
It's time for us to let you know what's going on.
Hey, what's up? It's Karen, Cake Dog Karen. I'm your host, and my other host is
Carmen, aka Mama D.
All right, you guys, welcome to the show. Can We Talk Sports? We have another great show on tonight, and we are excited.
Yes.
So, Carmen, what's been going on this week, girl?
Oh, it's been a busy week for me. Karen, it's been a busy week. My job is crazy, having us working 10-hour days.
Ooh.
6 days a week. So it's been a little bit crazy. Yeah, I had to work yesterday. I did volleyball matches Friday night, so I officiated. So yeah, I've been busy, girl. I'm tired. Ooh.
Oh my God.
You've had a busy week too, so tell me.
I have. First of all, yesterday made 31 years at my job.
Wow.
31 years on November the 7th. Oh my God. Oh, let me just take a breather. Because when you said 10 hours and 6 days a week, if they come and talk to me about overtime, I'd be like, I ain't gave you 31 years. I can't give you no overtime. I can't. I'm sorry.
But
Back then, I had my kids, you know, and stuff, but all my kids are grown. Yeah. So it ain't about money right now. So I can't give you no overtime.
It's mandatory, girl. It's mandatory. They're not even playing like, but you know, you have busy. So you do taxes, right? You have busy times of the year. So
right. So mine is mandatory too. And my boss, you know, he had called me, you know, during our busy season. He was like, "You telling me you're not gonna work overtime?" I said, "Yeah, I'm telling you I'm not gonna work overtime." He said, "Okay," because it's like I'm working from home now. So I'm like, "What you gonna do? Like fire me? 31 years? That's a nice package." I just don't know what to tell him. I just don't know what to tell him. But I am grateful though. It's a thin line because I'm trying to be grateful because I do thank God because he provided for my family during them time. So, you know, I want to be grateful, but at the same time, it's like I think I'm done because, you know, I'm ready to, you know, like you say, I have tax business and we got the talk show. I'm doing a documentary. I'm like, I'm ready to do things that I think that I love to do, you know.
That bring you joy.
That bring me joy. And it's more than about making money. Yeah. So, you know, that's this side of my life, you know. I went up the hill, I'm going down. So I want to do some things that I love to do. So I'm okay if they come and tell me, you know what, if they come and tell me they're going to lay me off, I'm going to do a video. I'm going to have a dance. I'm going to be shouting. But anyway, other than that, you know, this week we lost our mayor of DeSoto, Kirsty McCowan. It was, you know, a lot of people don't even know their mayor, but we know our mayor here in DeSoto. She was involved in everything. You know, this show is, you know, it's a tribute to her. She was involved in everything. Anything that was something that was going on, she was invited. She was going to try to go. And I was just so honored when I did my premiere for this documentary, Path to the Draft 7 to DeSoto Youth Players. She had a meeting, but she came in, she said, I didn't want to miss it. I wanted to support you. And that just meant the world to me that she would fight to take her time out to come and support something, you know, something that I was doing. And that's what we do here in DeSoto. That's what I try to promote. That's what it's about, us supporting each other. You know, when I fall, you fall. You know, we stand together. And that's what. Yes, yes. So, and then our biggest rival, the Battle Beltline, you know,
Battle.
5 miles apart. We play another high school team 5 miles apart, and it's every year it's a big game, big rival, you know. And so we had a show that we brought some fans, players, and coaches just to talk about the history, and they predicted DeSoto to win, and we got there and we lost.
Ooh.
But
That's a hard. But both teams are really, really good historically, not just this year or last year. I mean, historically, both teams are good.
Yes, yes. They were saying that on this side, the south side of Dallas, our teams are the only teams that have won championships around this area, and so it was a great game. And I went on Facebook and I said a shout out to Coach Lynn, and I said, we bow down. Y'all got bragging rights for 1 year. We bow down.
1 year.
1 year.
We're gonna let you have it for a year. We get it back.
I was being a good sport. That's what it's about. We laugh, have our fun, but to come together and be a good sport about it. And that's what it was about too.
Don't we wish everybody could be good sports?
Right. What's up with them Cowboys?
Hey, you know what, Karen? Honestly, like they shocked me today. They came in with that little new quarterback and they tried to win. They
were doing really, really good.
Yes, until the last second. I mean, well, really that fourth quarter, Pittsburgh started coming back, but I mean they played decent, like really decent. So
they really wanted it.
Great for loss, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, listen, you guys, we have a great guest on the show. Man, we got some trendsetters out there that are breaking in the NFL. And so we have one on the show, and her name is Phoebe Schecter. I'm sure she'll correct me on her name. Yeah, she'll correct me. I'm sorry I'd be messing up people's name. Please forgive me. But welcome to the show, Coach Phoebe.
Yay!
Walkthrough intern coaches, great job stepping up. You guys are an important part of what we're doing here. Urgency, communication, coaching the guys, that's big for us. So appreciate that.
My name's Phoebe Schecter. I'm a coaching intern. My story is so random. I moved to the UK about 6 years ago now, and I was just looking for a way to meet people and had seen an ad on Facebook for basically American football team. And because I've got dual citizenship, it allows me the opportunity to play for their national team. Luckily, I had an affinity with contact, so I ended up at linebacker, and my career has just grown from that. So this is my first full season with the Bills. At the end of training camp, Coach McDermott had asked if I wanted to stay on for the season.
Well, I think first and foremost, she brings energy. She has a contagious personality. She's curious, which I think is important because when you're curious, you have that desire to get better, and the players see that.
Where are you from?
Bloomfield.
Yeah, well, I'm from Danbury, Litchfield area. Yeah. Oh, crazy. Yeah. If you have the right mindset and you can visualize, that is infectious to other people. When I'm on the field, I make sure that I give my all the time. I am a big believer in 100% effort, and I try and instill that in others. Detroit, look team. Flip it. You guys are that side? We're flipping it. I think that my playing experience has allowed me to relate to the players now. Perhaps it's as simple as how can I help them get more energized, or how can I help change their mindset, push them towards bringing out their own leadership skills. All of these experiences are helping me become a better coach and then hopefully a better player.
Here we go. So your inside foot's back. Touch.
The tight ends are such a great group to be a part of because you're part of the run game, you're part of the pass game. So I've really loved that learning curve. And
Phoebe's come in and become one of our own and has really accepted the challenge of being a trendsetter and has made the most of it.
Bam! Yeah, good you. Having a female in the room all the time was probably a bit of a shock to them. What do I say? What can I not say? How do I behave? But now it's like they're big brothers. They help me learn. I learn from how they learn. It's just a really nice synergy that we all have together.
Every team has diversity. It's the good teams that can accept the diversity and become a family. Regardless of race or regardless of gender, you start to see those people as people.
The Bills and the Pagulas, everything they do is so progressive. All this culture and everything that Coach McDermott's trying to do has to come from a top-down trickle effect, and they definitely set the standard for other teams out there.
Accepting the diversity and recognizing that everybody's in this for the same reasons is what's going to make a team successful and build a culture that's a winning culture.
When we cross over the line, I need your energy, men and women. I'll define the tempo every period. We're all working from the same sheet of music.
At the end of the day, you need to send that elevator back down to allow others these opportunities. And if you have a bigger pool to pick from, then you're putting yourself and giving yourself that extra edge. So I just want to help as much as possible.
It's the way of the future. I tip my hat to the Pagulas and obviously to Coach McDermott and the entire organization for opening those doors. And then I want to compliment Phoebe for when the doors are open, taking advantage of it.
Here we go, tight end, partner up.
If I can help others to learn, to continue to fall in love with the sport and develop them as people, that's a huge part of what's so specific to football. That develops you as humans, not just men or women on the field. Being in the NFL is amazing. Learning from all these incredible coaches here is only going to help further my development, and I'm just so thankful for the opportunity.
Stop my mission. Ain't nobody
Hello, my name is Karen, and I am the producer and director of the Greenwood Avenue Project 2021 from the people, for the people of Tulsa, Oklahoma.
The documentary is going to be about Greenwood, Tulsa, Oklahoma, the events that led up to 1921 race massacre, and more importantly, in 1925, how they built life back over again and created a life for themselves on Greenwood, which some would call Black Wall Street.
Right. Well, I know this brother. So if I stop his brother, he acting up, I'm going to talk to him. Right. I'm not automatically put my gun on him because I went to school with him. I love him.
You have people that are serving life sentences without parole for non-violent job offenses.
Right. About the life of Greenwood, how it got started, all that.
Yeah. It's going to be a little deal. We ain't socializing nothing.
Excellent.
I am so compassionate about this project and about any project that deals with community. Is to expose what the enemy did to this city, but also help the people to get their voices back.
I just wanted to ask if this Juneteenth feels any different from the ones in the past here in Tulsa, and why? Why you think it's different?
There's a lot of outsiders on the inside today. Yeah. So if they're going to tell the story right, let's just tell the story right. You know what I mean? About Greenwood.
Before all that stuff went down.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the suppression of it and the systemic racism that they say don't exist.
They never heard about Greenwood or Black Wall Street. I'm a Greenwood guy.
The people who really have the stories, whose families were here, don't even get theirs told.
I demand that the history of Tulsa be taught so stuff like this doesn't keep happening.
It's basically how we want change all across the world, not just in America, and that George Floyd, he was the tip of the iceberg, and that we just demand justice.
It was established in 26, so our mission is to preserve these buildings.
What would Tulsa, Oklahoma be like if those businesses was never burnt down?
The money to come back here and maybe, help people start businesses. I mean, because that's what it was all about. Right. Those people having businesses.
I promise you, there is a lot of behind-the-scenes things taking place right now.
Yeah.
It's just not ready to announce of a major economic fund that'll be taking place for that.
Okay, so what do we need help with? We need help with everything. Everything. We need help with post and pre-production. We need help with video editing. We need help with traveling, marketing. We have no matter small or large. give us a donation to help us bring this project to life. If we don't reach our goal, we don't get anything. And so when you set the pledge up, you have to set it up to a number that you can reach. Of course, we need more than $5,000. If we don't raise it, we don't get any of it. So we're asking you guys to support this project.
Feel free to donate, donate.
That's 500 people to give $10. It'll be done, at least 5,000. So that would be a great start. So I'm inviting you along on this journey. Let's rebuild Tulsa, Oklahoma. Greenwood Avenue.
Ain't nobody gonna stop my mission. Ain't nobody's gonna catch me slipping. We ain't worried about much, we chillin'. You stressing about who, you tripping.
Hey!
Hello.
Hey, Coach. How you doing?
I'm so well. How are you both doing?
Wonderful. Thank
Great.
you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome
Thank
to
you.
the
I'm
show.
so excited to be here. And I love all these videos. They're unbelievable. You guys have done such a wonderful job.
Thank you so much. So let's get into it. Tell us all about Coach Phoebe.
I'd love to, sure. Well, so I'll talk a little bit about my journey because that's probably where it's most abstract in terms of where I started to where I am now. So I actually moved over to England 8 years ago now, and I moved over there to work with horses. That is what I've grown up doing. That's literally what I thought I would be doing my entire life. And once I moved over to England, I was looking for a way to make some friends, get a bit of American culture. You know, the weather's not always that great, so just finding nice things to do with people. And that's when I saw an ad on Facebook for American football, for football. And I just thought, I'd never played the sport, but let's just go for it. I think when you're out of your comfort zone, you're so much more willing to take risks. And for me, that's precisely what happened. So tried out for the team. Even though I'd never played a contact sport, I crazy enough made it. And from there, I pretty much went from playing the sport, got involved in coaching, knowing I couldn't play forever. I'm 31 now, so I knew I couldn't play forever. And I started coaching youth, and really it's just been a series of working hard, getting out, meeting different coaches, becoming a part of different programs, and applying for something called the Bill Walsh Diversity Fellowship. And that's really how I got my foot in the door in regards to making it with an NFL team.
Wait a minute. You was playing you like horses? How did horses and football come?
I know. I still ask myself that question.
I mean, did you watch football on TV? Or
I wish that I was a better American, Karen, and said that I did. I genuinely wish deep down inside. But no, I mean, horses were 24/7. And then it really, I just thought I needed a bit of American culture when I was in England. And that really sealed it for me. And now just obviously now my life is football. So, I mean, I'd say the best thing about horses though, is that it's one of the life lessons it teaches you for those that know anything about horses is once you fall off, you have to get right back on. So that life lesson is carried through with me.
Excuse me. Now, so how long did it take you to learn the game of football?
Yeah, I mean, it's still an ongoing learning curve, right? But it was definitely a very steep learning curve in the beginning. You know, in the UK and England, our level is not nearly the same as it is over in the US. And so for me, we went from playing kind of 5-a-side as females to eventually building up to 11-a-side. But even then, I started on special teams as the coordinator for a men's team in the UK. And a lot of my knowledge was based off of what coaches had taught me. Obviously, having to self-teach myself, like by research, watching clinics. And then even by the time I got to, you know, in college, I remember I was with a university called University of Laverne out in California. And I remember watching film with the team one day. And, you know, I didn't know anything, but we were spending about 10 minutes on each play, going over it with the team. I remember asking the coach at the end of it, is this the normal amount of time that you watch a clip for? He was like, yes. Oh, he probably thought, what am I doing with this girl? Oh.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So tell us about the journey into the NFL now. I mean, this is like almost like a God thing, because it's not like you can say, I was born and breathed football. I studied it. My dad did it, my brother. And here it is. You got this opportunity. That is just a wow.
Yeah, and it definitely, it is an opportunity, and I think a lot of times you get these opportunities in life, and I'm sure you both know, and yeah, there are people that are going to help you get to these situations, but what matters most is what you do with that next. It's the hard work that you put in. And so when I got involved with the NFL, I remember basically we'd had the NFL put together these careers forums for females. So we would have, people like Scott Pioli, who was assistant GM of the Falcons. We had Kim Pegula, who was one of the owners of the Bills. Dean Blandino, referee, Ron Rivera came and talked to us. And it was just a massive networking event for all of us, and be able to listen to people who are in the business and who were really genuine with us about what it actually takes and what it's like to work within the NFL. So Scott Pioli is someone who has been one of my mentors since we met, really, and he's really helped me a lot in this journey. And for me, when I applied for my teams through the Bill Walsh Diversity Fellowship, and essentially what that is a opportunity for minorities of any kind, whether it's race, gender, disability, to get a foot in the door with an NFL team. And you apply, you choose 5 teams, and then from there, hopefully you make it to the interview process through teams. I'd heard back from pretty much 3 of the teams saying no. I hadn't heard anything from the Bills, and I had been in contact with the Falcons just because Scott Pioli had become such a great mentor of mine. And I remember it so clear as day. I just finished a meeting with Scott in New York where I was pretty much about to say yes, to the Falcons. And I got an email on my phone whilst I was in that meeting. And it was from the Bills head coach, Sean McDermott, asking him to call him. So I hopped on a phone call with him. And I just remember him saying, are you in conversations with anybody else, about this internship? And I wanted to be transparent. And I said, yes, I'm speaking with Scott from the Falcons. And he just goes, well, tell Scott you say thank you, but you're a Bill now. And that was it for me. I was like, oh
my God.
Yeah, it was incredible. I'll never forget that moment.
Wow. So it was an internship. You said Bill Walsh intern?
Yep. Uh-huh.
And so
Bill Walsh minority. What was
Bill
the name
Walsh?
of it?
Bill Walsh Diversity Fellowship.
Diversity.
So what was the requirements that you had to have some kind of coaching skills, or I could just go sign up because I love football?
So you have to do, you have to fill in a lot of information. You have to send in references. A lot of teams ask for videos of you coaching or on field, or, teaching classroom sessions with players. And then after, once you've got through that, and if the teams even want you, then you have to interview with, probably 2 to 3 different staff members, so they have an understanding of what your football IQ is, where they think you could sit within the team, or, where would be most beneficial to work for them, but also for the person applying. So I'd always applied for defense, for linebackers. And my first training camp got put with defensive backs. And then the following year, I went, still applied for linebackers, and ended up with tight ends. And I was with them for training camp through to the season, through postseason. And truthfully, that was the best experience for me, because I, as a defensive-minded person, as a player, as a coach, to learn what they're trying to achieve on the opposite side of the ball just helps you so much more, and to create a more well-rounded player and coach.
I'm excited. I'm just
yeah, that's good stuff. So Phoebe, tell us a little bit more about your journey playing football. in Britain, like how I know you were working with horses and you wanted to do something exciting and meet some people. You were missing the American experience, so you looked for football. But like, tell us about your football journey. What position did you play? That kind of thing.
Of course. So when I first started playing in the UK, I think because I have an American accent, they thought I could throw the ball, which is not true. I've been working on it, I promise, but it is not my strong skill. So I kind of came into the sport when it was really in its infancy in the UK, especially for females. And what we ended up doing was a top-down approach. So we created our national program. So Team GB or Team Great Britain. And from there, we thought all the girls that were a part of that team would go off and create their own club teams, which, to be fair, is what happened. So I have dual citizenship because my mom's British. So I've been able to represent GB as well. And so I started at quarterback until we actually got someone who was way better than myself in, thank goodness. But I remember our head coach at the time saying, look, we obviously have a quarterback who's really good at this position. So in order for you to make this team, you're going to have to find a new position. And luckily for me, I had quite an affinity with contact. And that's how I ended up finding linebacker. And it was such a natural fit for me. So when we started off we started in fives, which is nothing, full contact. So I started at middle linebacker, and then kind of as I'm getting older and kind of getting a bit smaller, I've moved out to like your outside linebacker nickel position. And that's pretty much where I sit now. I'll play a bit on offense as a kind of blocking receiver or catch with no yards after catch. But I'm pretty much a utility player. I'll play anywhere. I just love the sport, just like you guys do.
Yeah. So you're still playing. So you're coaching and playing.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Yeah, and I play contact and flag.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. Now tell us about flag. Flag is becoming a huge sport. I mean, even with men, it's becoming $1 million sport now.
Yeah, definitely. And especially in Texas. I mean, it's massive in Texas. I know we've played a few different teams from Texas, and they're always quality. And I think, I think flag is a sport, if we're looking worldwide, that's really so much more accessible to people, from all different countries. It breaks down the barriers of the rules. So, it's much easier for people to watch it because it's so free flowing. You don't necessarily have that start-stop nature that can kind of confuse people if they don't grow up with a sport. Plus, you don't have much to pay for in terms of equipment. So countries that perhaps don't have as much money now don't have to worry about investing so much to be able to play a sport. And so we've got the World Games coming up in Alabama, which is going to be incredible. And the next step up from that is actually hopefully getting flag football into the Olympics for 2028, which would, again, it just creates opportunities for people. It gives young kids something to reach for. And especially with the 2028 Olympics being held in Los Angeles, it could be a really incredible way to showcase the athletes from within our sport.
Wow.
That's good.
That is really good. And then the injuries, wow. That is.
I know the younger kids from ages like 12, like their parents are really favoring flag football as opposed to them being so young, and contact sport, like contact football it can be really rough. And sometimes if the kids start too early, they get burnt out.
Exactly. And I think that flag kind of offers that way for people to get into the game and play the sport, whilst, like you're saying, not, perhaps not worrying about some of the more dangerous injuries. I know there's been a big push in children not starting until, 12 or 13, starting full contact in some countries. So flag at least gets them working through the mechanics, working on the fundamentals of catching and throwing. I mean, those are so essential. And then, I think it's a nice way to kind of add that in.
Yeah.
Now, are they are getting paid to play, right?
Sometimes it depends, truthfully. So you can have some of the flag players now, they'll have money game. So you might win some money, but it's still a sport where a lot of people have to pay to play. Even for us in the UK, as part of our national program, whether it's contact or flag, you do still have to pay to play, even for if you're representing your country. It's just not at that level yet where we've had enough sponsorship come through. I hope one day people will be able to play flag football and really be paid for it. I know there's the AFFL, which plays like a 7-a-side version and kind of combines some elements of 11-a-side, like you're kicking and punting and things like that. But even then, it's not necessarily being paid to play as much as you could win money from playing.
Wow. Now, how many men did you go into the locker room while they was taking a shower, and did they have to say "woman on the floor, woman on the floor," anything like that? You see at the end of the game, you see the reporters that are right there. You see somebody walking in the back with a towel. So with the coaches coming in, did they just holler "woman on the floor," or you just be going in there like this? Hello.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So like at the end of the game, obviously we all go down and do our post-game speech or post-game breakdown. And, I'm in there, and they're used to me in there. It's the expectation, right? I'm part of the team, so I should be allowed in the locker room with them. But I remember one time in particular, we were playing the Vikings. So we were way at the Vikings, and we had won the game, which is great. But so wherever my locker room is, my personal locker room is, it changes all the time, right? And this one, they had closed the other entrance for me to get into my locker room because it was through like the press conference room. So I literally had to run through all the guys through the middle of their locker room. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. They thought it was hilarious because I was mortified, but they thought it was hilarious.
I can imagine.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. But they just so free. I mean, they just
right. Right.
Yeah.
I think they get more of a kick out of embarrassing you
100%.
than being embarrassed, right?
Being a girl coming through. Yeah.
Exactly.
So Phoebe, tell us, like, how did they accept you at first? Was it a hard transition, or did they just welcome you, or you felt like you had to earn your stripes, or how was it at first?
Yeah, and it was something that, so my first training camp, I was with a coach named Gil Bird. His sons have played in the league. He played in the league. And one of the things that we talked about when I first started was, how are we going to get these guys to earn my trust, right? I don't want to just show up and say, you have to trust me, you have to believe in me, because I also, from my point of view, wasn't really sure what I necessarily could offer at that point, because there's still NFL players who've been playing this sport way more years than I've ever followed the sport. So again, my first year was with defensive backs. And so what we did was I play obviously tackle football, and I play another kind of crazy sport called kabaddi, which is like, it's one of India's national sports, but it's a mixture of MMA and rugby without a ball and tag and kind of like Red Rover when you're a kid. So it's a lot of tackling. So what we did was we put together this highlight video of all my tackling from the two different sports and showed the guys. And I mean, they just loved it because I love tackling. So they absolutely bought in. They loved every minute of it. They still to this day still, talk to me about it. And that was just a really good way to kind of be vulnerable in front of them, but also show, look, I'm going to give 100% whatever it is. And I think from that point forwards, it's more about how you develop your relationships. I think as females, we are really good at our interpersonal skills and, building those relationships. So I just continue to do that. Even if it was, I was in the gym at 5 a.m., some of the guys would be in there and see me working. They appreciated that. They valued that I was putting in work outside of work, to make myself better, which ideally would help the team.
Yes.
Wow. And how was the demand on your time? Because coaching is very demanding. You don't have a social life during that season. So how was that?
Yeah, and it was definitely a lot to adjust to. I mean, training camp is its own kind of world, but even when you get into the season, that still takes time to adjust to because, it's a 7-day-a-week job and you're pretty much in there from, end of July through till ideally the Super Bowl and the postseason, but at least through December. And even with a bye week, really we would get off like Wednesday through Sunday of the bye week. So it's only a few days, which definitely helps, but it's not like you actually get a break, if you know what I mean. So, I'd be in the building every morning at 5:15, and you would work through till 11:30 at night. Sometimes I remember I was there a couple of times with other coaches till 2:30 in the morning, and then you're back in at 5:15 again. So it's nonstop. It's not like there's any downtime in that. It is back to back to back. You are literally trying to take advantage of every second of every day. So no, it's, it doesn't necessarily allow for much of a life outside of football, but it's really good for someone like me who needs to be fully involved in something. I need to totally buy in and have that take all of my time. But on the other hand, then, you might get 5 weeks off before training camp, and a lot of teams are a lot more flexible in the postseason as well, making sure that you get to see your family or whatever it is or whoever it is you want to.
Wow. You said 5 in the morning to 11 at night.
11:30.
Yeah.
So you probably have to be someone that doesn't really like sleep and that can operate on 3 hours of sleep, taking a nap. And then
Yeah, it's not easy. And I love my sleep. So that was tough. Put a little computer in the eyes.
Now, are you back? Oh, go ahead, Carmen.
I was just going to tell her I love the energy that she brings on the sidelines. Like that really impressed me. I was like, whoa, get it. I mean, I'm sure they embrace you because how could they not? Like the energy that you bring is infectious.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I mean, it's something that I always talk about it in terms of how I view myself. And when I really started this journey is almost that imposter syndrome where you feel like you don't deserve to be there or someone else, you're only there because you got lucky. And I think part of that journey of being more confident and believing myself had to come down to, well, what is my role within the team? What value do I bring to this team? And I knew at the time it wasn't necessarily my X's and O's knowledge. So what else can I bring? And for me, that was being positive, bringing great energy, and being consistent. I mean, that's so important, especially if you're part of like a team that perhaps isn't doing as well, or even if you are doing well, you still need to be so level and consistent with what you do. And so I really value you saying that to me.
That's awesome. So did you have a football idol or somebody that you got a chance to meet while you were coaching?
You know what? It's been like every opportunity I get to be in the building is learning from someone. The tight ends coach that I was with, Rob Boris, he became my idol. I don't think I knew enough about the sport to really say this is who I love to follow or want to kind of emanate in who I am. But he is all about family. He's all about making sure the players feel like they're loved, literally, because it's really hard in that industry, as you can imagine, where you could be let go, any second of the day. And what Coach McDermott's done a great job of is making sure that the team feels like a family, even with that kind of threat over here. But how you get people to play and give you 100% and play with all their heart every single game. I mean, if anyone watches Buffalo, you can't deny that. There really haven't been any of those big standout players. I know now we've got Diggs, but you've got kind of a whole bunch of really, they're talented guys, but they're guys that play with heart and they want to play for each other. And something that Coach McDermott kind of lets us all know, but also Coach Boris, he's a brilliant teacher. And I think when you get to that level, it's about how do you help your players understand? How can you make sure that they are able to digest all this information, process it, and make those decisions on Sunday? So you are more of a teacher and like a loved family member than you are necessarily a coach.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, with you being a player and a coach and breaking into the opportunity to be in the NFL, what kind of advice could you offer these, with COVID-19, you have players that have been playing all their lives and they wanted that opportunity to get into the NFL. Well, since COVID-19, no rookie camps, just all that kind of stuff. And here they are, they're still trying to hold on to this dream of playing, but yet they're, maybe dealing with some mental, depression right now, because here's another year of getting older. And, should I continue to fight through this? I mean, can you offer any kind of advice to those players that's got that dream to get into the NFL?
Yeah, and it's such a great point that you bring up. I mean, I know a lot of these players right now are worrying and they've got a lot of stress on them and there's so much uncertainty. The biggest thing I could say, especially during this time, is actually you've got so much more access to more people from within the sport. So really develop who you are in terms of becoming a student of the game. Get on as many like CPD courses or online clinics or whatever you can to really understand what's happening at that kind of higher level, because no matter where you're coming from, that jump to the elite level is tough. It is really tough. So putting yourself in kind of these uncomfortable situations where it causes growth as well, just do everything you can to really, push yourself. I know a lot of people don't have gyms open right now, but what can you be doing at home? What are ways that you can really make yourself better physically? And then you can work on the mental side, and I think there's a lot of little things like that you can really focus on. And you just have to think positively, because the second you let those negative thoughts enter your head in terms of, oh, well, what's going to happen next year? I don't know how it looks for, what your season looks like. I think it can really weigh you down, but also talk to people, don't be afraid to talk to people. Let people know how you're feeling. It will really help you throughout these really tough times, but don't give up on your dream. Everything will happen for a reason, and working hard. That's what for coaches, that's what we're looking for.
That's good.
That's really good.
So did you get a chance to watch the XFL?
I watched a little bit of it. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I can't believe it already closed so quickly.
I know. And we got a chance to interview the communication person for Dallas, and we got sideline passes. So we were on the sideline, us sportsmen, we was on there. So we got a chance to look at the crowd and all that kind of stuff. But that it's supposed to be coming back, I think in 2022 or 21, Rocknum is coming back with it. So what do you think about having, like, you got the NFL, but just because there's so many players and that's 1%, having another professional league for more players? What's your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great because it's just like you said, it's only the 1% that make it in the NFL. And there's so many kids that are hardworking that have had these dreams since such a young age. And this is what they set their hopes and lives around. And I think by having the XFL, I think it allows for, more dreams to be met, because even guys that have made it into the NFL, or make it on practice squads, they get dropped so easily, especially, you have a lot of guys on a roster through training camp. And then at the end of training camp, a lot of people are dropped, and it's not easy for anyone. So I think having a team like that, it also gives more coaches opportunities to feel what it feels like to coach at the elite level, more players. I mean, so many more jobs and roles open up. I think it's really a good thing. And then selfishly from a international perspective, a lot of our international guys have a much higher opportunity of making it in something like the XFL as opposed to the NFL. So no, I'm all for it. Did you guys enjoy your time watching?
I did. And so we didn't obviously didn't read the rules very good, because when we was out there, we went live. And so the players, the fans, they were all acting crazy. So we went up and tried to interview them. And so that same communication, you're not supposed to be interviewing. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm sorry. We were just trying to keep the vibe, because it was high energy. It was different than the NFL. So we were just trying to flow, but it was good. And then, so guess what? So when I went, and the first day they gave me the pass, and I was like, I gotta go. They gave us the pass, and so I went. I was just like, wow, I'm on the field. I was on the sideline. I said, let me get ready to go, and I went down the elevator, and the elevator opened up, and I got to meet Kyler Murray. So Kyler Murray is from Dallas, and his high school team played my team, DeSoto, 3 times. He beat us 3 times, Allen. And so they're like our rivalry. And so when I met him, I was like, baby, it's a pleasure just meeting you, baby. He took a picture with me, and it was just wow. It was amazing. Wow. So it was great. I was like, okay, that was my whole purpose of going. God wanted me to be able to meet him. It was a great experience. And I hope it comes back, because it does give more boys the opportunity to play the game that they love.
Yeah, definitely. And I think fans want more football. I mean, that's what we hear all off season.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's good. You got something, Carmen?
I do. So, Phoebe, you talked about sending the elevator back down. So talk to us about how you've sent the elevator back down to help those and bring more people up to your level.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so important. I think whenever anybody makes it anywhere in life, it doesn't have to be that you have to make it to the elite level to be able to give back to people. I think you can give back to people at any stage in your life. And for me, it's been so important to make sure that, I got to where I am because of, standing on the shoulders of giants. And I want to make sure that I'm able to share those experiences and help mentor and just give others opportunities. So whether it is, through coaching and starting so back in the UK, I'm starting basically like a women's coaching, like development program. So, teaching from the basic fundamentals and all the way up, giving them an open space to be able to have this dialogue. I'm also looking into starting a female coaches opportunity within soccer in the UK, because that's not something that's really, there's no female coaches within the men's game. So looking to kind of introduce that. I think just in terms of how much time you give to people as well, I try and go to as many events, watch as many young people, see if there's anything I can do to help them in terms of like playing or doing coaching, like little clinics or whatever that may be, just to really find a way to give back. But I mean, honestly, if there's any opportunity where I can ever, share my network, share whoever it is, just to help people, I think it's so important. And I think as females particularly, we need to, fix each other's crowns, as they say.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's good.
Excellent.
That's really good. This year is what's considered the year of the mouth. And so that's why I think it's so important for the voices of moms to share their story, to share, what they did to raise up an athlete. I mean, it can only help those who are coming behind us as far as what dedication, nourishment you have to do to raise up athletes so they can make an informed decision, whether they want their kid to play golf or football or tennis, just hearing our stories, and so that I really appreciate. Now, tell me about the sports in the UK. So is there a professional football team in the UK?
So we don't have one actually in the UK. We do have like the GFL, so the German Football League, or semi-pro, kind of out in Germany. So when you go out to Europe, there's a lot more leagues that will actually pay for players to play for them, and that's female or male. Within the UK, it is literally just club teams essentially. But what was kind of cool about the UK is actually most people don't start playing football until they're probably in their 20s.
Wow.
So yeah, because we don't offer it as like a high school sport. And
really,
yeah, so that's why it's basically just a bunch of fans that love the sport so much. They're so dedicated, and then they start playing, 20s. I'd say the average age of our kind of playing community is like mid 30s to 40s.
Really? So you don't really have kids over in the UK like, dream of wanting to play in the NFL. It's not necessarily like it is for, in the US, because we see it so much and it's in our schools. Our kids dream to do that. You don't necessarily have that over there.
So we're starting to get that over here because now the NFL has created the first ever NFL Academy, which is based in London. So
wow.
Yeah, exactly. And that's pretty much for your kind of, I guess, junior, senior aged kids in high school. And they basically have to go to school and they do football 3 days a week. And that's been really huge, I think, to motivate people to think that they've got an opportunity. I mean, that's the biggest thing. No one knew that they had these opportunities to play in the States before or make it in the NFL. But a combination of that, we also have really good ties with the CFL, so the Canadian Football League now. We've signed a partnership with them. And then we have something called the Player Pathway, or some people know it as NFL Undiscovered. And essentially what that is back in the day when there used to be NFL Europe, when that kind of all finished, they've kind of created a loophole within the NFL that says you can have one international player on your practice squad or on your roster, and they don't count, right? The rest of the time, your roster is pretty much sealed in terms of how many people you can have on the team. So we have a few guys right now that are gone through our Player Pathway program, which is a 12-week intensive like football camp, teaching people who may never have played the sport before how to play football, based out of IMG in Bradenton, Florida. And then at the end of that, we give them out to different different conferences within the NFL. So we have a guy who's with the Panthers. He's a defensive end. His name's Efe Obada. He had, I guess, 4 years ago now, never even played a sport in his life. He was working at a warehouse in the middle of London. Someone spotted him and thought, gosh, you need to do something because you're massive. Taught him all about football. I mean, he's got a crazy story. He's from Nigeria. He was drafted as a child to London, and now he's on the starting roster as a defensive end for the Panthers.
Wow. Starting defensive end?
Starting defensive end,
wow.
I would love to hear that story.
Wow.
Oh, I'll send it to you. He's incredible.
Yeah.
That is amazing. Because I was going to ask, because, you can kind of just see kids growing and you be like, God, you're so big. Do you play a basketball or football? So I've never been to UK or anything like that. Are people kind of just big over there?
Not nearly like they are here in the U.S.
Oh, okay.
They breed them differently in the U.S.
Right.
We've got some bigger guys, but no, not particularly. I mean, I'd say the biggest sport in the UK for us is is soccer, but then rugby. So you'll have this kind of like traditional rugby build of guys, but no, I mean, they're definitely just, I think maybe this younger generation is a bit bigger, but nothing compares to the average size of people, height wise in the US.
Really?
Yeah.
And you went back there.
Yeah. I know.
I mean, what do you like about it?
I feel like I've really set my roots in the UK, and for me, that's where my football journey started. And I thought it was really important to give back to the community that's helped me so much and has kind of encouraged me and empowered me to grow and go out on this crazy journey. Truthfully, I do spend a lot of time between the UK and the US. I think right now the UK is in lockdown, so I'm definitely in the US, but I just think the people are lovely. I love helping growing the sport from literally, complete infancy and seeing the like where the future could be, seeing that big picture of all the people that could get opportunities, working with the NFL Academy. I mean, being able to see those 16-year-olds and see, they've got their hopes and dreams ahead of them. I'm sure you guys have seen it with your sons, and you just want to help everyone. You want to really encourage them to achieve whatever it is that they've got their mindset to. And I feel like I can really offer that to people.
That's good. I just
So
love you.
Phoebe, I know, right? She's so cute. So Phoebe, how did your mom and dad influence you? So you said your mom was British. She's from England, and like you just called them up one day and said, "Okay, mom and dad, I'm going to Britain. Bye. See y'all." So
Yeah, basically. Truthfully, I've always been really independent. And I think probably part of that comes down to horses, the responsibility at a really young age. And I mean, I adopted my pony when I was 13. So I think that teaches you so much about dedication and responsibility. And, I basically just knew that I had an opportunity to go work over in the UK for someone on the Dutch Olympic team with horses. And I just thought I couldn't throw that opportunity away. So yeah, basically was like, okay, I'm out of here. But they've been really supportive. I'll be honest, my mom doesn't really follow the sport. I think she's trying to get her head around it. Being British, it's not something
Right.
that she grew up with. So my dad understands it a bit more, obviously, being an American. So, but everyone's been really supportive. Uncles, even my family in the UK who don't understand the sport, they just want me to, do well in life and be happy. So I think that means so much. I think support comes in many different formats, and I'm just grateful to have really wonderful people in my life.
That's good. So what do you see your future? What are your plans for the future for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, truthfully, I would love to be back with the team. It's something that I'm working on. When I left the Bills, it was my own decision because we had the NFL Academy, and that was something that I'd been working on beforehand. So it was really important to me to finish that and follow through with that because I knew it would change the lives of so many young kids. And Coach McDermott was so supportive of it. And we're still in contact all the time, which is brilliant. But I would love to get back with an NFL team just because there's no, even though we were talking about the crazy schedule before, there's no replacement for that kind of euphoria of being part of something greater than yourself. So for me, that's the ultimate goal. But whilst I'm working towards that, it's actually a lot of opportunities to, work on things in the UK or over here, whether it's being a female flag ambassador and working with young girls over in the US, or working on a diversity inclusion committee in the UK and working to really help in that element. So, I think I'm very fortunate that I'm able to wear so many hats at the moment. And I think I'm sure, as you guys will say the same, lockdown and COVID has really kind of changed our view on the world. And I think we just all feel like we really need to, we have to be more creative, but also take advantage of all the time that we have, the time we have with loved ones. My colleague and I have written a children's book about, so we've got a kids book all about a female lead that goes and tries flag football.
What's the name of the book? So we can put it out.
Yeah, I'll send it. It's called Eden and the Jukes. So it was kind of copied off of my colleague's daughter's Eden, and she's only 5 years old, but it's about her going and trying out this new sport called flag football. And it's pretty cool. I love it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's good.
Phoebe, how do we encourage more girls to get involved in football? And it's always kind of been not acceptable. Yeah, not acceptable for girls to play. And there are girls that could do an amazing job playing football. I have a daughter who Mahogany had hands. Like she played basketball and volleyball. She actually played volleyball in Germany, professional volleyball.
Oh my
But
gosh.
I mean, she would have been a great receiver too. Like she just had, she's tall, almost 6 foot. I mean,
Wow.
she would have just been a great receiver. But not that was never opened up to her. Like that was never an option for her.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the case, a lot. I think it's changing now. I think what's really important is visibility of people. I know everyone kind of thinks it's cliche, but the line of if you can see her, you can be her. But if you don't see people that are in a role or doing something that you want to do, you never think that you can. So it's really important. I mean, even what you guys are doing is incredible, showing the world that, you can be a mom, you can do this, you can be so supportive, and you can share these stories, you can be vulnerable. And that's so key, because I think that otherwise people just kind of keep that to themselves, or they don't say anything, or they don't go try something new because the fear of what others think holds them back. So being visible, I know it's not easy to shout about yourself, but you kind of have to do it. You kind of have to say, look, these are the opportunities for people. Let's get involved. But don't be afraid to try something new. It's only going to help you grow. And it's something that you don't know. It could totally change your life like it has for me. And the way that sport makes you feel, it's so empowering. I think especially as a female playing football, whether it's flag or contact, it's so incredibly empowering. So I would recommend it to anybody. Just try something new. Don't be afraid to do that. So
that's good stuff. Aiden and the Dukes. Good. Okay, so I have one more question, Phoebe, because we're getting ready to get real. Okay, so how often did you get hit on when you were coaching?
You know what? I have to say the guys are so professional, and it was also, the way that you put yourself across, right? For me, I was in this role, and I knew that, whether it was an actual external pressure, if it was just in my head, I knew that I was kind of waving a flag for females to come. And if there was ever anything that I did that was wrong, even the slightest little bit, if I said the wrong thing or anything like that, I thought that would prevent any opportunities for other females in the future. And, for me, I knew I was there to work, and that was how I saw it. These are my athletes. They saw me as a coach. I think there was one time when I first started, I remember we were on the sidelines, and I'd kind of stepped back, and I stood on one of the linebacker's feet, and he turned around. And he was like, "Oh, sorry, baby." And then he realized that he was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I just said that." He was mortified. He was like, "I am so sorry." But he probably had never had a female in that role. The only time he'd ever, he'd never seen a female on the football field. And for him, in whatever his extracurricular activities were, it probably would be how he referred to a female. So it was never anything, malicious about it. But, it was, I was there for work. They understood that. They treated me literally like a coach, and they've been brilliant, and I think that's the way it needs to be. It needs to be professional, because if you ever cross that line, first off, that will never go well for you as a coach. Right. Because they'll either say you're only coaching for this. You're only doing, you want money, you want this. And that's not what it's about. It's a passion that I love to coach, and I love to help people. And I think it's just, it's like any other job. You're just professional. And plus you're around, I mean, you guys have sons. If you're around boys like that all the day, they stink. They're stinky. I'm like, oh my gosh, just get me out of here. I want nothing to do with men. This is too much. I give you 5 minutes of talking to a girl anywhere. Oh, goodness.
It really, the locker rooms are just no joke. I'm just like, where did all this come from? It just stays in there.
I know.
Wow.
It's horrible.
It is. So, you've been a coach, you've been a player, and do you honestly think that women need to cross that line, or the line of going into being coaches and referees in the NFL, or should we just stay separate? I mean, even if we did do tackle football, we did it, but not necessarily, because now you have girls that want to be on boys' teams, and we're just intermingling a lot of things. I mean, it's okay to play it, but keep it separate, or do you think we need to cross those lines? You have an opinion about that?
Yeah, I mean, I obviously think that more females should be involved in coaching, refereeing, playing any format of the game, right? You know, whether it's scouting or athletic trainers, there's a role for everyone. And I think when you open up your talent pool and you diversify it, you can pick more people and you get a better staff at the end of the day. But I think when it comes to playing, at the moment, we've never had the opportunity for female-only teams. So, because we've never had enough females wanting to play the sport. So you do end up with a lot of females on men's teams. But I think as time goes on and we get more people involved in the sport and the standard of it for females especially is developing, I think you'll just find naturally that, you know, college will have female tackle, or, you know, even right now with the NAIA being able to get a scholarship to play flag football in college, get an education. I mean, that's incredible. That's something we never thought was possible. And that's for females, right? So, you know, I've got one of my friends, Tony Harris, she's out there playing in college against men. And it's amazing what she's doing. You know, she's killing it out there with the guys. But I know she also would, you know, love to have a female team to play on as well. And there are like club teams essentially, but to get the recognition, to be able to get an education through playing the sport would be incredible.
Yeah.
Now, what college is she playing for, Phoebe?
She's going to kill me if I can't remember the name of it. Starts, I think it's Missouri. I'll find it out. But she's, I mean, Toni, Tony Harris. Yeah, Tony Harris is unbelievable.
Wow, I'd love to watch her.
Yeah, there'll be lots of information on her because she's incredible. I know right now she's working on getting into pageants whilst there's no football going on. I mean, a woman that can be out there killing it and then do this. I mean,
right. I think we are going to have on the show, I think her name is Jenkins or something, because there is a women professional tackle team, and I thought they just like Adidas or somebody is one of their sponsor.
Oh, you're gonna
her
have,
last name is Jenkins.
Yeah, Odessa. Yeah,
Odessa. Yeah.
She's
I reached out to
awesome.
her to come on the show and talk about what she's doing, and that's going to be another. I mean, here it goes. That's going to be another big sports, because we did have another lady on the show. She plays. She's actually here from DeSoto, and she's like 30. She's like 40 some years old, and she's still playing linebacker. So you were saying you're 31, you could still be playing.
I love it.
Yeah, dates my daughter.
Yeah, just keep the body in shape. We'll be okay.
Right.
But yeah, OJ has amazing energy. I mean, talk about energy. That girl lights up a room. So I'm excited. You guys are going to get on like a house on fire. She's incredible.
Yeah, so that's wonderful. And you know what? Somebody was telling me something about, I guess it's called something like sister cities, and how you can be in one city and you connect to another country. And so when you were just talking about the different sports that you're trying to bring to the young people, I could just imagine how if you found a group of guys who wanted to learn the game of football, that they could come here in the summertime and connect to one of our high school and come through the training and just learn. That. I was like, that's the kind of stuff we could do. We could be like sisters. They call them sisters, cities, sister city.
Oh, I love
that.
So
you had and you scouted some kids and see if we could raise money for to have them to come over here and live, you know, and go through the sports with one of the teams over here. That would be cool.
Oh my gosh, they would love that, honestly.
Yeah.
What
a great idea.
God, you got to give me some money
That's
now.
A great idea. That's a great idea. You could get parents to sponsor and like, you know, keep them, you know, in the home like you do with foreign, foreign students
Foreign
and stuff
exchange,
that
yeah.
come, foreign exchange students and stuff. I could see that working, Karen.
That would be
Mhm.
incredible. Let's
Mhm.
get it
Lord.
done.
Right. Yeah, that will be good. Where because you're saying sports is not that big in the high schools, but those who want to come over and learn it, they could come over and learn it. And then that's the trend where it goes back and started, and that creates the travel teams that you guys could put together. You can come to the US and play the team.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Yes.
That's amazing. I love it.
Okay. All right. What else you got, Phoebe? What else? You just igniting creativity.
I know. I mean, it is incredible. I think I know, like our we have the NFL Academy, and then we've got something called Fulton Pride, who is another academy. I mean, so those are two teams that I'm sure they could raise some money and if you take a few kids on. I mean, that's the hardest thing, isn't it? Is finding somewhere for these kids to stay when they're out in the U.S. because you don't want them to be on their own, and you want to be with people you trust.
You don't want to run and wild.
Nope.
My husband and I have we've hosted foreign exchange students before, so I could see that really being something where you take 3 or 4 kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I got a 5-bedroom. My kids are gone.
I know. I know.
Now
right?
I got to go down there and convince
I
my
got 4.
husband. He's gonna be like, Karen, I told you to stay away from sports. I'm like, I can't. I don't know what's going on. So all we need to do is find someone that would sponsor, and kind of like follow their journey, and
I'm sure we can find that. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely, especially between the two countries.
The countries, and even if you got someone like Nike or Under Armour or somebody to pitch in and start helping, and even the NFL, if we're training up the kids that are going to be the next NFL, prospects coming from different countries, they might even want to get involved.
Right. And just making the awareness of the sports, because I know, once a year or something, they play a game in another country.
Yeah.
So they are trying to build up that awareness and make that game popular than soccer. So.
Because England, they go to England every year. I guess they didn't do it this year because of COVID, but they have usually a couple of games in England every year.
Yeah, about 4 games a year. So, and they're sold out every time.
Really?
Yeah, it's incredible. But it's incredible because it's not like, if we were to go to a Cowboys game, everyone's in their Cowboys gear, everyone's cheering for them. When you go to a game in the UK, you have fans from, the 80s wearing their, it might be a Dolphins Jets game. And you've got Dolphins jersey, you got Vikings jerseys. You'll have more jerseys from other teams than you would probably the 2 teams that were actually playing.
Right. Just because they want to come out, huh?
Yeah.
Just because they want.
Exactly.
Well, wow. Okay.
Okay, Karen, we did. It's been really good. It's been really good. And Phoebe, you haven't inspired us. You haven't inspired us to do more and to speak more. So, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
You guys. You guys are incredible. I mean, you inspire me just with what you're doing. I don't know how you manage it all, but it's incredible. And please keep doing what you're doing, because you're helping so many people out there. Even if they don't reach out to you and tell you, just sharing your stories helps so many people.
Thank you so much, because I was definitely saying, God, I don't know, God. I don't know why I'm doing this, God. I was definitely having a moment today, so I appreciate that encouragement for saying that. Thank you so much.
No problem.
And thanks again for coming on the show. We're going to be doing our season finale this coming Sunday. We have done over 80 shows, so going on almost a year, and we're going to take probably a 3-month break and just try to figure out what we're going to do for next year. So we appreciate it. Maybe you'll come back and let us know what you guys are doing over there. Maybe you can bring some players on and let us talk to them and just get their stories. That'll be fun.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes.
Yeah,
So-
we would love to talk to some more players and yeah, especially in the UK because the way we're doing it now where they could just get online and just hook up with us. So
Yeah.
Absolutely. They'd love that.
And then if you actually start coaching or something, we might need to come over and we'll be over there at your game.
We'll be there, Phoebe.
UK.
Yeah.
Can we talk sports going to the UK?
I love London. I
love
love
it.
London. It's
Good.
foggy all the time though.
Yeah.
Foggy all the
Yeah.
time. The thing I remember most about London was that like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, the streets are packed.
Yeah.
Like people everywhere, like, don't y'all sleep? Like,
really?
Yeah. In London.
Yes.
So y'all
have a
got
good
clubs
time.
and stuff?
Yeah. Yeah. They like to
Oh,
have
it's
a
a
good
party
time.
city.
Yes. They like their drink.
Okay, so yeah, we got to come and visit. We got to come and
Absolutely.
visit.
You're always welcome.
All right. Thank you so much. Hey, you guys, you have been watching Can We Talk Sport? We ask you to like and share this video. If you're on YouTube, we ask you to subscribe, but just share. We appreciate you guys. And also in the post, we have a GoFundMe. We're trying to take when we come back this next year, we're going to be working on marketing and just taking this thing to a whole nother level, looking a little bit more professional. And so we ask you to give donations if you would like to. So, all right. I am Karen. I got my host,
Carmen, aka Mama D.
And we had our guest,
Phoebe.
Yeah. So, all right, ladies. Good night.
Thank you so much.